Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Matt with Parm Fam Custom Woodworking, and today we're going to take 4 of these 2x8 These are not treated, they're regular. I'm going to paint it. We're going to take 4 of these and turn it into a small, easy bench. Should take about 30 minutes. I originally saw these plans on another YouTuber. His name is Rogue Engineer. You go check out his channel. But we're going to turn these into that today, and I'm going to try and do something a little bit different than what he had. So stick along. All right, so the first thing we're going to do, we're going to take 2 of our 2x8s and cut them right in half at 48 inches. That'll give us 2 pieces for the back and 2 pieces for the seating area. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to trim up on both ends just to square it up, to make sure it's squared up, plus to give it a little bit neater end so it turns out a little bit better when we're screwing them together. And yeah, those of you that hate dust, it kicks out tons of it. I've got a dust collector on the way. Now, if you are just starting out and all you have is a circular saw, hand saw, a speed square, you can do this project without having a miter saw, without anything else. You could use it with a hand saw, a speed square, and a pencil. All right, so this next piece I'm going to cut into the legs, the longer section of the legs, which the longer legs have a 30-degree bevel on both ends, the same bevel, and they're 38 inches long from point to point. All right, so we have our first angle up here cut at 30 degrees. All right, so we're going to measure right from the tip of this down 38 inches, put our mark. And from our mark right here, we're going to make another 30-degree cut that goes along this way. All right, so here's one leg cut. Now we're going to go ahead and trace it, we'll put it on here, we'll make up another one just like it. All right, and there's both the legs. All right, so out of this piece, they're going to be cut into 2 small legs. And these have a 40-degree on one end and a 45-degree on the other end. All right, so we got our 40-degree cut on this end. We're going to measure from the tip of it. We're going to measure from the tip of this back down 19 inches and make our mark. All right, so we measured down from the very tip of that back down here 19 inches. And made our mark right there. And from right here, we're going to do a 45-degree angle cut. So we'll have a 45-degree angle cut right here. If you're doing it with a speed square or a circular saw, if you have a circular saw and a hand saw and you need to do it with your speed square, you're going to put your speed square on here, line it right up with your mark right there, and then you're going to pivot this out until you get to 45. And the 45 is going to line up right with the outside edge of your board. So you line it up with a point at the top, you line it at 45 with the outside edge, and then make your mark on here, and that's where you'll cut. So just like this one we cut at the top up here, this one should be 40. So I put this at the top, bring this down, line it up, we have 40, with 40 right at the outside edge of the board right there. So that's how you do it with your speed square. That makes it pretty easy if that's how you have to do it. If you don't have a miter saw, if you're using a circular saw, it makes it really pretty easy. That's how I did it for years. We're going to go ahead and get this cut made. Now we can put this one right on top of it again. We'll just flip it over, and that'll give us our next piece with a 40-degree angle on it. We have to do the 40 on the other end. Make sure you set your saw back to 40, because that other side is 45. We line it up on the 40-degree side, put the saw back to 40, put my pieces up here. There's my other 2 legs. Just like that, we're all cut out, ready to assemble. So what we're going to do is cut an angle on the back of here, and I'll line up the back with the perfect angle for what your seats are going to go on there, your seat backs. And what you do is you measure off from the bottom down here, this inside corner, measure up 21 inches. So you measure up 21 inches, you put your mark. The top side, you're going to measure in 4.5 inches. Put your mark. Take your level, your straight edge, line up those two marks, and that's what we're going to cut off. There we have it. It's all cut off. Take it and match it up with this one, and we can mark it and cut it. All right, so those legs are cut. So now what we're going to do is go ahead and assemble the bottom legs. All right, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take one of my other seat, I'm gonna clamp it to the side of my bench right here. And what it'll do is it'll give me a reference surface to push them up against on the bottom. All right, so I have that. So what I need to do, you go up 12 1/4 inches on the front of this. You go up 5 3/8 on the back side. And this is 6 inches on the inside edge. So I have the main big leg, which you measure from the bottom corner of this up 12 1/4 inches. And on the inside edge, you measure from the bottom up 5 3/8. And that'll give you 2 points where the little leg is going to cross over. The 40-degree angle goes towards what will be the ground or the bottom. And you measure up 6 inches from the bottom of this into the inside point here. And that gives you your line-up point for the inside of this. So you kind of know that you're referencing the right points when you hit all those points. So if you look in here, there's one reference point right here. That's the 5 3/8. You have the other point out here, which is at 12 1/4. And then you can't really see it, but it's on the inside edge right here, 6 inches. So you get them all lined up. It goes in, and that's going to give you your seat, where your seat should be lined up. They're flush against the board down here, and that gives you what's going to be flush on the ground. You put your screws in, your seat will be on top of right here, and then the back's going to go right up along there. All right, I got it lined up how I want. Now I'm going to drive 4 screws in here, hold her in. All right, there's one leg all set. So we'll go ahead and assemble the other one. Measure up this outside edge 12 1/4, inside edge 5 3/8. Find out which side is 40 on here. That one's 45. So that makes this other one 40. We'll go ahead and measure up here 6 inches. Line them all up. Now if you want to, you can go ahead and pre-drill these screw holes on the bottom side here. It all depends on what you're looking for at the end. So I might go ahead and fill these when I paint it. I'm not sure yet. There's leg number 2. So now we go ahead and assemble it, put the bench on it, and get ready to go with that. Now the way the bench goes on here, it's just going to mount right up to it, and it's going to kind of come right up flush with the front. Now I do believe I'm going to countersink these, just because they're closer to the end, and I don't want them to split, being that it's just pine. Go ahead and take these out here. All right, so you can kind of just get it set up a little bit like this. Then I just level up the sides, get where I want it, and then I'll go ahead and send these screws home. Go ahead and line this side up as well. So this board, I only pre-drilled 2 holes in it because there's only room to get 2 screws in the back of this bench the way it is, and then you come through the side with the 3rd one. Okay, so we got the bench on now. Now we just got to put this back on it. So I take that back. I'm going to pre-drill a hole from the either side of this going into this back leg right here, just for some added support. I think on the plans, it doesn't say anything about this, but I think I'm going to run it through the table saw. I'm going to put a 30-degree bevel on the top of this so that it'll match up with this one. All right, so I have my angle finder right here. Put it on top of my bench right here, and it comes up at 0. So then I just, I'll push 0 again, and I'll 0 it out. Now it shows 0 on there. I'm going to put it on my blade. Blade's at just about 90, so I want to go down 15 degrees to 75 degrees. All right, so we're at 75 degrees, which will give me a 15-degree cut. And then we can match it up to the mark on the end of my board. It should be perfect. So let's give her a run and see what happens. All right, so that's the 30-minute bench. It does have a little bit extra detail here than what is on the other. But what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and integrate a handrail on here with an integrated cup holder. So let's see what we can do with that. All right, so what I did, I measured from the ground up to about where I felt was right, about 25.5 inches to the top of the armrest. And then, so I measured from the back of it all the way out to the front, and I got 20 inches overall. And then I kind of just figured 4 3/4 would be good. This looks like about the size of a soda can or a Coke bottle. So I put that on the center, and then I put a round to it just to give it a little bit softer corners. So I ripped her down to 4 3/4 of an inch wide, just a little proud of 4 3/4 inches wide on the table saw here. I'm going to take it over to the bandsaw and cut this rounded top off, and I'm going to figure out a way to cut this out probably with a jigsaw. Let's see what we got. All right, we got it mostly cut off. I can round it off with the sander when I get done with that. Get it all nice. Let's go see if we can get this cut out of here. Got a 1/2 inch drill bit. We'll go ahead and drill a hole or two in here. And put this down, put it on top, drill into it so I don't blow out the back side of this. Got a little tear out, but not too bad. Go ahead and put a little painter's tape on here. All right, let's see if I can find a jigsaw and cut that out of there. See what we can do. Alright, so what I did is I measured up from the ground up to this mark. It's 25.5 inches. And that's where I want the top of the armrest to be. So then I just made a straight line on here. I took my piece, I put it on there, lined it up with that. And then I put my lines on the top where I want my cuts to be. And I have it lined up on the inside here. I put a mark on there also where I want my angle to be. Take it back over to the bandsaw and we can cut this piece out. Before I did that, I should have cut this angle on the back. I can use my miter saw and cut that angle right there. I'm going to take it over and cut that now. There we go. Got that angle cut on there. Now I can go ahead and cut through here with my bandsaw, and then I'll cut this off with the oscillating saw. I got that chunk out of there. Now I just gotta get this angled piece out of here. So I'll take the oscillating saw and I'll just cut that angle. Now first cut her kind of flat right here. I'm gonna put a mark on here so I kind of know where I'm headed. That way hopefully I won't overshoot my cut. Alright, we got that cut made. I'm going to go test it on the side of the leg. Go ahead and line it up here with our line on the side. That looks good. Got a little bit of a gap here. See if we can clean it up a little. Just with that little bit of cleanup from the oscillating saw, bring it right in tight. So now I'm going to use a hole saw. This first one I did, I cut out with a jigsaw. I thought I had it on video for you guys, but my camera died, so I did this with a jigsaw. It's a little wonky. My blade went angled on me down in here, which is something you run with a jigsaw. So I got a hole saw. I'm going to try it with a hole saw. Got an old piece of scrap right here. Put that down and clamp her down to the bench. Alright, so we came through the other side. Alright, so that looks a little better. And the other one, go ahead and see if we can get her cleaned up a little bit. Put her on there. Need a little bit of a round over. The top, we just try and soften them up a little bit. So I'm going to get these installed. Go ahead and line them up with the outside line right here. Go ahead and countersink 2 screw holes. From there. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make another piece to go from down here up to here. And it'll basically act as a stop for the bottom of that to hold the cups in. Alright, so I cut that to 19 inches. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to angle the bottom of this so that it will match up to the leg down there. And then I'll get it set up here. Alright, so I cut this to 19 inches overall length. I put a 60-degree bevel on the back of this, and then I went up here to where it met the back of the wood, went in it, kept it 1.5 inches, and then I cut it from down 1.5 inches here, and then put an angle cut on it. I'm gonna go ahead and put it in here. Alright, so I got the other side made up, got this side made up. I went ahead and put some pocket holes on the top. I'm hoping they'll go on either side of here, and I'll get it in there, hopefully without splitting. I pre-drilled a hole down here, it's countersunk it, and then I'm going to put a hole through here in the bottom of the board on this side as well. Alright, so we got one there. Pre-drill a hole down here, screw in there. Alright, there's that side. Looks pretty good, pretty sturdy. We'll go ahead and put the other one on. So here we are, finished up the bench, 4-foot bench. It's made out of 4 2x8/8. If you do it right, you should be able to have enough to get the handrails and the supports out of that as well. You can finish it however you'd like. Paint, stain it, put it around your pool, a deck, campfire. Just a nice little bench to have. Doesn't cost a whole lot to put together. If you like what you saw today, please leave me a like and a subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. And we'll see you on the next one. Thanks a lot. Bye. So you can go from all that lumber to this.